Jungle is a role all about control. You're responsible for your team's vision, information, and, as I'm sure your solo queue teammates love to remind you, helping out lanes when they need it. Of all roles across League of Legends, Jungle demands not just your high-level knowledge of the game, but constantly asks you to make decision after decision to guide your team through the game to success. In professional play, a slower, more controlled jungle approach has often been the de facto playstyle, with pros wanting to mitigate risk as they look to steadily accrue advantages for later fights. That is not the case for South Korea's Hambak Yoo-jin, a player who seeks to farm champions more than camps. An aggressive, gank-oriented jungler who came up through the talent systems in League of Legends' most successful region of South Korea. At the start of 2026, after a few years of grinding it out in the LCK system, Hambak was granted an opportunity to play in North America with the newest addition to the LCS, Sentinels. For a team that looked to make a splash in the LCS after signing the core of Disguised and veteran top laner Impact, Sentinels completed their roster by signing a player whose jungle pool includes things like Viego, Zed, and Skarner. A player with a singular mindset. If he's not ganking his lanes, he's doing it wrong. This is the story about how a young South Korean talent made his way to North America's highest echelon of play, and the style that bucked conventional wisdom for chaos and creativity. League Champions Korea, or LCK, is South Korea's premier League of Legends league. Home to many, including the game's undisputed GOAT, Faker, the LCK has been responsible for more impact on the professional scene than any other league in the world. Not only have teams from South Korea won the World Championships a record 10 times, but if 2/3 of the total worlds played at the time of this recording, even if you exclude the record-defying T1, LCK teams would have won Worlds almost as many times as every other winning league combined. There are also more South Korean pro gamers in leagues around the world than any other, and that stems from not only how good the LCK is, but how good the players in their Tier 2 and solo queue system are. The LCK CL, or Challengers League, has been a font of talent since its inception in 2021, although versions of the league and Tier 2 have existed since 2012, when LCK was OGN's tournament series and not the franchise league it is today. This is where we find Hambak Yoo-jin, who got his start in 2020 as the jungler of Afrika Freaks Academy. It was 2023 where Hambak would really start to make a name for himself as a top prospect when he became the jungler for KT Challengers. Now, KT Rolster are one of the most legendary esports organizations in history, tracing back since well before League of Legends existed. However, if there's one thing their fans will always tell you, it's don't get excited about KT. That rule didn't apply to their Challengers team because Hambak's rise in 2024 made their little brother team look so good that fans said KT should consider promoting the entire Challengers team to the main LCK stage. Punching first and asking questions later, Hambak helped lead KT Challengers to win in 2024 CL Spring season, playing the likes of Vi, Lee Sin, and Jungle Rao. He was awarded the LCK CL's Best Jungle Award for his performance in Spring alongside teammate Zinni, who won the equivalent award for mid lane. KT Challengers ran it back again in the summer of 2024, with Hambak shining on even more aggressive picks like Nidalee and Jungle Brand before once again claiming the crown in Challengers League. A victory that won him not only the Best Jungle Award for the second time in a row, but also earned him the accolade of Finals MVP, topping the final game of the series with a dominating performance on every summoner's favorite scorpion, Skarner. Understandably, Hambak's 2 years on KT culminating in a Finals MVP award garnered him a lot of attention from orgs in the LCK. By November of 2024, he realized the dream of just about every pro player, being promoted to your region's professional league among one of its franchise teams, landing on OK Brion. Stepping out onto a new stage began the statement of intent as Hambak helped his new team won the 2024 Kesva Cup. Unfortunately, that early success would not translate into 2025 once the LCK regular season rolled around, as mixed performances from Hambak and Bro led to his eventual demotion to OK Brion Challengers by March of 2025. While he finished the year splitting time on OK Brion, Hambak was apparently already considering a move abroad as part of the next stage of his career. So when Sentinels started looking for prospective players, Hambak was definitely one that piqued their interest. With disguised former bot core of Huhi, Darkwings, and Rahel, alongside former Faker teammate and prior world champion Impact, Hambak joined an interesting mixture of veterans and more recent talent, both domestically and abroad. While separated from his old mid laner Jinni, who also found himself in the LCS on Shopify, the young, flashy, gank-prone Korean jungler now had a new team in a new league in a place very far from home. Even with LCS greats like Inspired and Blabber, who were bastions of a more controlled, farm-leaning jungle style, Hambak was not going to change.
Response from Call Me, but Sentinels are looking for it. He didn't see Hambak, no! Does not lock down the Vault Breaker, and now turn back into Hambak. He's taking a lot of damage here from Palafox, but even with the Shattering Strike, Photon now joins in. Hambak gets the kill on the Palafox.
Instead of towards the wall. Just straight into the wall. Yeah, I think he might have been able to get him.
Ooh, meanwhile, public execution here in the mid lane.
Isles will fall to Darkwing. Dokla's into the backline though. Rahel could be in some trouble. The CC thrown down onto Dokla. Dokla's gonna run. Hambak CCing them up on the other side. Saint is incredibly low, and Saint has fallen.
Sentinels overperformed to expectations in the LCS lock-in tournament, finishing 3rd overall after falling to eventual winners Lion, whose promising roster featured 2 former LCS MVPs and had proven to be a real contender. Despite missing first stand, Sentinels would finish 3rd again at the 2026 America's Cup and continued to farm XP as a squad. Given the legacy of teams like Team Liquid and Cloud9, the promise of teams like Lion, and even a young but talented team like FlyQuest, who had been better sooner than expected, Sentinels found themselves fighting towards the top half of the league despite being a team whose talent was hard to quantify coming into 2026. Even though DSG's summer 2025 mid and bot lane core had been solid, and Impact is a player that has succeeded in LCS on a massive amount of different rosters throughout a lengthy and successful career, Hambak was the odd one out. Coming off a mediocre debut LCK season despite his obvious talent on KT Challengers, was now on a team that no one seemed to know quite how to rank. With lock-in having gone better than expected, when the first full split of the 2026 LCS had arrived and other teams had had time to solidify, Sentinels' record, despite how good some of their individual games had looked, did not look promising. Finding themselves with only 1 series win a few weeks before the postseason began and 2 teams would be left spectating from home, Hambak still showed exactly why he was such a sought-after talent, especially on Skarner, a champion that no one else in the LCS is prioritizing, but one that he can seemingly never lose on.
You haven't actually poked off that Celestial opposition first, but look at the T-Shell's impact onto Castle. He tries to go in, gets insta-CC'd by Hambak.
By week 6, Sentinels' postseason chances rested not just on them continuing to win, but with the former home of 3/5 of their current players in disguise also picking up a series on that same day. So, Sentinels get to work.
Looking to use the Bellows Breath, keeping himself alive. Misses the return hit on his own ulti, but the rest of Sentinels has arrived. B-Boy under pressure, Hambak taking the kill, while Impact continues fighting back. It's a disaster for Shopify Rebellion.
And for them, thankfully, DSG does too.
This is how the series ends. DSG keep their playoff dreams alive as they look to 2-0 Dignitas.
Now locked for playoffs, Sentinels have stayed true to their word of being a disruptive force in the LCS, a team that has quite a bit to prove even though their time in the LCS thus far has been short. What's impressive about Sentinels is that the undercurrent of this team has among their peers. Even though the stage results have maybe not been as flashy, whenever other pros are asked about Sentinels, the consensus seems to be that they are much better than their record would state. Now with playoffs looming, the team has a chance to prove just why that is. And Hambak will continue his journey of exploring new horizons, whether it's a new country or a new way to get into fights on Summoner's Rift.